Last night, the Montreal Canadiens walk into Buffalo for Game 5 in what has basically become a best-of-3 series. And they walk out of that game with a win, 6-3. And now they have a chance to eliminate the Buffalo Sabres in round 2 of the Stanley Cup playoffs in 2026, way ahead of schedule and with seemingly tons of gas in the tank. I have genuinely never been more excited about a Montreal Canadiens team in my entire life, and I just want to talk more about it. So let's talk about it.
It's an amazing feeling to score a goal, and I can't describe this feeling. So I hope I'm gonna have a couple more times.
There's just so much going on in the NHL right now, and there's so much going on in this very series. If I wasn't covering this series, if I wasn't talking about the Montreal Canadiens right now, I would have no shortage of things to talk about. There's probably a little segment of my audience that wants me to talk about the news in the NHL. Chris Knobloch being fired, GM change in Vancouver, even the other series in the league. But I am glued to my screen about this Montreal Buffalo series because, yeah, how could you not be? Let's get this out of the way. Thank you so much for your continued support. We keep growing. This community is fantastic. The comments in the comments section are so positive. It's apparent that you love this team, and that's being felt around the community. Even Carey Price was gushing about how it's rare on the internet to see such overly positive responses from the community. That's why I love this team. That's why I love this fan base. And if you're part of this fan base and not subscribed, why not hit that subscribe button? I'd love to have you as part of this community. We're like less than 500 subscribers away from 25,000 subscribers. Can we make it before the end of the playoffs? So first off, I want to start this off by talking about Phillip Danault. Can we talk about this guy for a second? He's basically the exact same Phillip Danault that we had in 2021. He's a shutdown machine again. Coming into this game, no Montreal line had been matched against the Thomas, Tuch, and Krebs line more than Danault's at 5-on-5. And the results are absurd. I think you can see the results, but the results are absurd statistically. In terms of shots on goal, 10-3 for Montreal. In terms of goals, 1-0 for Montreal. Over 83% expected goals for the Canadiens. And to top that off, Danault goes 13-2 on face-offs. 87%. That is ridiculous. He's got to get more respect. He's a little bit of an unsung hero, but I think there's enough people singing his praises. He can't be reduced to just a defensive center. He does so much more than that. He controls the game. He kills possession time. He wins draws. He shuts down elite players. They're even having really great success finding extended time in the offensive zone. So just like how Suzuki, Caulfield, and Slav have been getting shut down, on the other end, their elite lines are being shut down as well. So he's not flashy. He's not going to dangle through like 4 guys or nothing like that. But playoff hockey loves a guy like Phillip Danault. Unless you're Thompson or Matthews or Stone. Now let's switch gears and talk about players who control the game offensively. And I'd like to start with a defenseman, Lane Hutson. I don't even know what to say anymore. Every single game I watch him and think, okay, this might finally be the game where the workload catches up to him. And then he comes out next shift and he's right back to his high compete, one-man offensive wrecking ball again. He's the first defenseman since 92-93 to achieve more than 10 assists in the playoffs. I don't know if that's a really encouraging thing to talk about or if it's just indicative of how terrible offensively the Canadiens have been over the past 23 years. And there are moments where he does genuinely look exhausted. You can see it in the defensive zone, unfortunately. But then, like I say, he can come out next shift, walk the blue line, manipulate 2 defenders, create a seam out of nothing, and then tilt the ice completely in the Habs' favor. That feed to Josh Anderson, disgusting. Anderson was a warm body on that play. And what impresses me about Hutson right now is not the points that he's achieving, it's the pace and the control that he has of the game. When Hutson is doing his stuff, he is exuding confidence and it's contagious. He shifts the momentum of the game. When he's on the ice, Montreal is confident. I think people have gotten overly pedantic about what is a generational superstar, because now when you say that Makar is generational, they'll say no, because Quinn Hughes is like a similar type player. I disagree, because then if you say that, like, is Sidney Crosby not generational? Anyway, what I'm trying to say is I think that Lane Hutson is a generational player, not because Hudson's going to blow every record out of the water, although he has gotten his share of records already. He's just going to be this incredible player that we have on the Montreal Canadiens for a long time. He's locked up on a contract that's going to get better and better every year. So I continue to be very excited about Lane Hutson, and my opinion is that he and Suzuki are the most important pillars of this team. Shifting gears now, I kind of want to edit myself a little bit. Jakub Dobes deserves way more credit than I gave him after last night's game. Because after watching the game, I think I got a little bit too caught up in the chaos of the first 3 goals. And that third goal, especially, stinky one. Pretty lousy goal for Dobes to leave in there. And if you were paying attention, on the bench, Martin St. Louis shoots Letowski a little look. Martin St. Louis later after the game in an interview would explain what happened after that. Actually, just have a listen.
Well, ultimately, it's probably my decision, right? But I feel like the goalie position is probably the one position that I can't help much, and so I try to stay out of it, right? And not be emotionally driven and being upset that we're down. Like the first period was chaotic on both sides, right? And so, yeah, Trevor radioed up top to our goalie coach, Marco, and he made the call. It was a very quick call too. He said, no, keep him in. Okay, let's move on.
But the important part of all that is after that goal, Dobes completely locked in. He stopped 31 shots after that. He had the net locked up like Fort Knox. A big save on Thompson in the second period, that was the turning point of the game. And St. Louis mirrored that thought, saying that the momentum flipped and the Canadiens started playing the way that they're capable of. This is why playoff hockey is so psychological for goaltenders. It's not all about their ability to play and how they play. It's about how they respond to big moments, and Jakub Dobes continues to respond to the big moments. He stabilized his game. He started off poorly. He locked it down, and that gave the team in front of him a lot of confidence. And I think we take for granted how young Dobes still is, and what he did there was very mature. Like, he's only 24 years old. That's only a few years younger than me. Yeah. So now let's talk about Ivan Demidov. Obviously, someone that was on a mission last night, right? The biggest tell? The white tape on the blade. You knew immediately, like, he was trying to reset something mentally. Trying to break out, not unlike Britney Spears when she shaved her head, remember? And she went to the gas station. That was a topical reference. And I think what we're seeing from Demidov right now, when he did that, when he flipped that switch last night, is a young superstar learning not only how to play in the NHL, but specifically learning how to play in the playoffs. I think I make it hard on myself by comparing him to other rookies that have found a type of game that already helped them so early in their careers in the playoffs, like Beckett Seneke. But I think the problem with Demidov is earlier in the playoffs and throughout these playoffs, let's be honest, he was trying to make moments that were bigger than what they had to be. Forcing things a little bit too much, expecting maybe a little bit too much from his line mates. This game obviously felt different. He picked his spots, he attacked with purpose, and when the opportunity opened up, he went for the throat. 1 goal, 1 assist. He could have had more. The assist could have been a goal very easily. Jake Evans just needed to give it a little push. But on his goal, that release, it's ridiculous. Be more selfish, Ivan. After the game, it's apparent that confidence is something that's being talked about with Demidov. It's great hearing that he uses Lane to bounce so many ideas off of, and it sounds like they're just straight up friends. So I think, again, the problem is he's got a lot of ideas. His hockey IQ is really high, and he's trying to force things that are bigger than he's able to do right now in the playoffs. But what's going to happen is he's going to find his confidence. He's going to continue training and getting stronger developmentally. And maybe what's going to happen is he's going to learn to simplify his game, have the confidence, but have a calculated confidence. But last night, he looked composed, he looked dangerous, and he looked engaged physically too. To me, this was his breakout playoff game, and I think we're going to see more from him. So be patient with him, but I feel like we're going to see the version of Ivan Demidov that we all want to eventually. And then the last thing I wanted to talk about is a little bit of a media battle between Lindy Ruff and Martin St. Louis. Because before this game, I think after game 4, Lindy Ruff basically implied that Montreal's players were going down too easy, looking for penalties. It's a classic playoff gamesmanship, trying to work the refs through the media. In this game, I really expected there to be embellishment calls, but the Canadiens answered the bell, and Buffalo definitely looked like the team that went down easy. Montreal didn't spend a whole lot of time whining about it. They didn't get distracted. They just kept attacking. And the funniest part is Buffalo lost their composure with that. Montreal's power play made them play. They've beat them 5-on-5. Demidov scores, Suzuki scores, Caulfield scores. They beat them down. It was a belt to butt type game. I actually think Martin St. Louis handled it well, but it's interesting to see him. He kind of took a piece out of Ruff.
Peut-être un peu facilement, et en même temps, il a dit toutes les équipes qui faisaient ça. Est-ce que c'est de bonne guerre à ce moment-ci?
Ça fait qu'il parlait de son équipe aussi. Ça, c'est à travers de ses lens.
C'est lentilles.
Oui, ça, c'est ses lentilles. Fait que moi, je commenterais pas de comment il voit ses lentilles à lui. Là. Sa vision des choses.
Tu me parlais de tes lentilles là-dessus?
Pardon?
Tu me parlais de tes lentilles sur les petits?
Moi, je trouve que les calls d'un bord ou de l'autre, ça s'équivaut pas mal. Je m'arrête pas à ça.
But the Canadiens just played hockey. They played the game that's in front of them, like Martin St. Louis always says. And that's what impressed me about this win. Not the 6 goals, not the comeback, the composure, the maturity over the course of the game. Buffalo had the crowd in the beginning. They had the momentum, a 3-2 lead, but Montreal never panicked. Now the series is going back to the Bell Center. Game 6, Buffalo with their backs up to the wall. Can Montreal clinch it? That will be the final test of maturity. That's going to do it for me, guys. Hope you enjoyed the video. You guys know what to do. Like the video, helps me out with probably something YouTube related. Subscribe if you're not already subscribed. I'd love to have you. And as always, I will see you down in the comments.